Well, there was an interesting phenomenon going on in Vietnam. Vietnam staged a reasonably good growth rate in the early years of this decade and in the after 2000. And it emerged as a very strong buyer of gold. The Vietnamese public is unusually sophisticated in its use of gold, and the Vietnamese banking system was actually operating a gold banking system. They were lending people gold for general commercial purposes. So, as I said, in 2007, Vietnam appears to be importing more gold than China. Unfortunately, the Vietnamese government has developed a major fit of pique about this, and they're doing their best to shut down and eradicate the use of gold in the commercial world. Nevertheless, you can work out the price of gold, and it's recently been at a discount, but early on this year it was at a significant premium, which means now that the gold has to be smuggled. And maybe one day it'll open up again.
Yeah, I understand gold is the only thing that's used for real estate transactions in Vietnam.
I believe so.
Yeah.
But the gold banking function was really quite interesting. There was a sophisticated gold lending function to the public for general commercial purposes, which they just chose to denominate in gold. Unfortunately, the Vietnamese government seems to be very regressive in its view of gold, and the World Gold Council needs to work harder there.
It's just another example of gold intervention by central banks?
Banks hate gold.
Yeah.
Central banks hate gold.
Because it's competitor to their currency.
Just another point, though, of the last few days, is the interesting with the Korean purchase of gold for the first time in over 15 years. One wonders whether there's those central banks like Switzerland, which are faced with tremendous inflows of speculative capital and detrimental effects on their exchange rate. It might not eventually dawn on them. I mean, if rather than have people buy Swiss francs, why don't we just go and match it with gold purchases?
Yeah.
And in effect, divert the flow of speculative buying of Swiss francs into the gold market and pull the Swiss economy out of the line of fire.
Yeah.
That may be what was motivating the Koreans.
But isn't that sort of happening? Both Swiss franc is strengthening and gold is strengthening at the same time?
Yes, but the Swiss National Bank, so far not taken the admittedly very embarrassing step of reversing its huge sales of gold of 10 years ago, which in retrospect, of course, were completely stupid. But the point is that if you want to manage your currency to prevent it depreciating too much to protect your exporters, purchasing gold with inflows of speculative capital that might come your way is a perfectly rational thing to do.
Yes, understood.
And one wonders whether some of the central banks are beginning to think about that.
Well, maybe they're thinking about it, and maybe that's going to happen in the future. We'll see.
I think the Korean purchase of amounts earlier this week was a very important development.
Yeah, there have been a number of wake-up calls that way with regard to central banks.
But Korea is particularly important because they've got this ballooning foreign exchange reserve situation. Plus, they are, in fact, a very close client of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's not like Mexico or India, who've had a pretty negative attitude to America most of the time.
Yeah.
For as close, basically, an American poodle like Korea to start buying gold that's a big change.
But the bottom line is watch the demand for physical gold around the world, because that's a good indication of where the gold price is going.
Well, there's no doubt, as you've very accurately called this summer, James, that when the West gets alarmed, they can push the gold price a long way. I like to think of my work as offering people who own significant amounts of gold important comfort in the morning when they're wondering whether their net worth is going to dive because the gold price is going to collapse. The premiums tell you what the downside is, because the fact of the matter is that India appears to be willing to buy the entire world gold supply at the right price.
Understood. John, thank you very much. John Bremo of goldjottings.com.